The other thing I was going to share with you before I go into the how you find your niche is coaching and social impact. And this is an area we're seeing a great deal of at the moment in Animas is people working in this field. So we've recently had coaches begin to work in schools, helping young people to develop through school in different ways, whether it's on the verge of exclusion or whether it's high-performing kids who are struggling within their context, different ways for coaching to take place within schools. We had one lady called Teresa who's been working in prisons, helping people. Are they coming out of prisons, Karen? Do we know? I've forgotten what Teresa does. You're not sure? Yeah, I think she's helping people who are coming out of prison to resettle, I guess. So a lot of work around social enterprises. One lady we know called Demetra is working with young people or youngish people, like early 20s, who are starting up businesses and using coaching to help them get over their limiting beliefs and their assumptions about what's possible. So not so much the business part, i.e. the marketing, but the inside part. Youth work is becoming quite big in the coaching world. We actually used to teach a youth coaching course. The demand for it when we taught it wasn't huge, and I'm actually wondering whether it might pick up now. But youth coaching is a fascinating area because a lot of young people are in transition anyway through the natural process of growing up, and so most coaching is dealing with people who have got relatively fossilized views of who they are, whereas young people tend to have quite unfossilized views, but they're also very confused, or they're very anxious, or they tend to be quite black and white sometimes around, oh, nobody likes me, or the world's a rubbish place, or whatever. So we found that the process that works best for them is something called solution-focused coaching, which is identifying the strengths in their life. You know, you say that nobody cares about you. Let's identify somebody who does demonstrate some care for you, and then work on that as the kind of the fulcrum to do the change work. And then we're finding a lot of charities requiring coaching. We've started a kind of element. Sadly, it's not. We employed somebody to run the social impact part of Animas, but then they got very ill, sadly. So it's kind of slightly paused. But we're looking to take our coaching into lots of charities. We're doing some work with a charity called Innovation Unit, and they have a project called Coaching for Carers, which is coaching for people who are looking after people who are dying. And then they themselves as carers are often neglected, and they spend a lot of their life thinking about the person that's dying and not thinking about themselves. So we're looking to provide coaching to the carers for people who are dying. We're also working with a charity called The Mix, which is a charity for young people, and we're actually doing an internal coaching culture shift within that charity. So what we're seeing is that there's a lot of emphasis on how does coaching support these charities to do their work differently, or to serve their end users differently. Part of the reason why we're doing the social impact project is because we want to create spaces where the new coaches that we train have a place to go and work. You know, because if the charities can't afford coaching, it makes sense to then utilise and harness the community we're building of new and qualified coaches. We did a project years ago with Turning Point in Westminster, where we supplied some coaches to Turning Point to work with people who are on recovery they'd gone through the treatment part of it, and they're now looking at, well, what next? How do I get sustainable housing, and how do I get a job, and this sort of thing. Brilliant.